Sheepdog Nation. Welcome to another podcast episode. I'm really excited to have you here as always. Today we have a friend of mine. I'm bringing back my Miami cop, Nick Jacobs, and it's gonna be fun. We're having him on. It's gonna be like I told you back in the prior episode. It's gonna be like what it would be like in a patrol car with me and my Miami cop friend if we were just shooting the shit. So what we're going to be talking about today, though, is it's a pretty hot topic, and we're going to be talking about how not to lose yourself as you've been a cop, like how not to lose yourself to the job. So Nick, welcome.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, brother? So we are talking about how to not lose yourself on the job. Why are we talking about that?
This is a very interesting topic because I've gone through it and had to kind of reclaim myself, and I see it happen to a lot of officers. Because what happens is that you want to be really good as a cop, and the only way to be really, really good as a cop is to jump in feet first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, jumping in feet first definitely has its repercussions and consequences to it. You know, you kind of lose relationships along the way, you lose yourself. You lose a lot of opportunities that can, come over the time. And now you have to kind of figure out, okay, I need to separate myself from this and remember who I am at the end of the day.
And like, what do you think like the biggest, okay, so like, what do you think that like most cops do? Like, what's their first biggest mistake that they make? The first one out the gate. What do you think?
They want to do everything every single time, every single day. So like they want to jump around from being in patrol. They want to spend like 6 months in patrol. All right, I did that. Like, that goal's checked off. Now I want to do SWAT. Now I want to do K9. Now I want to be a detective. Now I want to work homicide. So you got all these things. And yes, it is very exciting, especially for a younger officer. Hell, I mean, I have 15 years on, and those kind of things are still exciting to me. But you have to pace yourself. This is a marathon, not a race. I know a lot of people have ever seen the movie Colors, and the whole speech when I think Hodges is talking to Pac-Man when he tells him about the young bull and the old bull. That is the best thing that you could ever say to a young cop.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yep. Sheepdog Nation, if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch that movie. Well, we're not going to reiterate it on here, but go watch that movie, or you can even YouTube it. I guarantee there's going to be.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Just go YouTube that the movie Colors, and what a old bull says to a young bull. Make sure
because that's what the two characters are. So the main character Hodges, he's actually a veteran cop in a gang unit, and Pac-Man, who's I forgot his name in the movie, but it's Sean Penn's character, and he's this brand new cop, ready to go. He got the slick hair, ready to kick ass and take names. And Hodges is like, all right, yo, chill out. I'm gonna tell you this story here.
Exactly.
And then funny enough, he tells it to another young cop that's in the same position as him years later.
Yep. And it's true too, because we come out and you're so right. Like we're just ready to do it all. We're really ready to take on the world, and I think to some point though, like the academy does that. Like I don't know about like those of you who have gone to a gentleman's college. I'm not sure, or a gentleman's academy, I could call it that. I don't know what that is like for you, but I know for me, because I did a live-in academy. They really did. They got you all fired up. Like by the time we came out of there after 6 months, I'm like ready to fucking go. I'm like, all right, let's do this thing.
Ready to jump through a wall. You're like,
oh
yes,
yeah, fuck yeah.
Finally, let me out the gate.
Yeah, like I was ready. I didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm gonna go do whatever they tell me to do. It's gonna be great. And I really was. I lost myself, and maybe you can talk about what you did too, Nick. But I can tell you, for me, I would work 12-hour shifts, okay? So we work 12-hour shifts, and I would be on FTO for 12 hours, and then I'd get off my FTO at 6 p.m., and I'd go and ride with another officer until like 10. And I'm like, really? Like now looking back, I'm like, really? Like, really?
You know what I usually say that it's like getting older and working out. So things that or like partying when you're older, right? So when you're you're a young guy or girl, right? You could turn up, go all night, wake up in the next morning, go run, and then you're good, ready to go to work, right?
Yeah.
You try doing that at 35. That shit ain't happening.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact thing in your career. You have
Yeah.
to pace yourself, and the way you pace yourself is we're going for longevity here. We're not going for actual impact,
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, really what needs to change, and what you have to remember the older you get in this job, and even down to like your first like 5 years. I mean, I honestly believe your first 5 years, hell yeah, you should be fired up. You should be doing everything, learning everything, sticking to those old bulls and figuring out what they know, because they're going to be gone
Yes.
soon. They ain't going to be around forever.
Yeah.
So I stuck to those guys like a fly on shit, because
Me
I
too.
wanted to know everything that they knew. I'm like, wait, so you did this back in the 80s and the 90s? That was
Mm-hmm.
the crack era. Yo, I need to know that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I did that. And it's kind of funny now, the younger officers kind of talk to me about that, and they're like, well, we don't really get along with the older guys, but we get along with you. And I'm like, and I always try to figure out why. And they're like, well, because you're approachable.
Mm.
They go, you're kind of a dick, but you're approachable. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I honestly, like, it didn't matter to me if like the veteran cops were approachable or not. I didn't care. I just asked them so many questions anyways. I'm like, hey, I just want to be like you. So can you show me, or can I just ride with you, or can I just like come
See,
to your
it
calls?
wasn't like that when I came on the job. It totally
No,
wasn't like that.
no.
You could not even talk to like if it had more than 2, 3 hash marks, don't even talk to them, because they're not gonna
Really?
tell you. Oh hell no! What? Hell no! They're gonna look
Mm.
at you, yo kid. Why are you speaking to me right now?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
you started out at NYPD, and that's a huge department. So that's, right?
Yes,
Because like that's not
yes,
in Maine, that's not it. Like my department's 30, 40, 50 strong, maybe,
yes.
so it was a little different dynamic. But yeah,
Huge difference.
yeah.
Huge difference. Even here in Miami, I mean, we had a lot of like up north cops, so they still kind of had that attitude too, and I respected it. I understood why they did it. It wasn't because they hated you or anything like that, but they got to make sure that if they invest into you, you're worth it to them. That's
Mm,
what it is. A lot of people have misconceptions about that, and
mm,
all it is they go like, all right, why am I going to invest my time into you, right, and my knowledge into you when you're going to just leave in 2 years?
mm.
So you know what? Kiss my ass. I'm not gonna help you.
Yep.
You figure it out on your own. But if you stick around, now I'm gonna give you the keys to the castle. And
Mm,
that's what a lot of them did. One of my best friends. I mean, he's gonna retire next year. That guy, like, he was awesome. He's
yep.
like, all right, I gotta figure you out, kid. I'm gonna help you out, and he really did. So I learned a lot about dealing with people from him.
But do you think okay, absolutely. Hands down, veteran cops, they're where it's at for the most part. I mean, there's some things that we need to not take from some, burnt out
Oh, of
cops.
course. I mean, listen, there's plenty, you pick and choose, who you see is, legit or not. You can tell,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
can tell after, a couple years, a couple months, just watching them on crime scenes,
Yeah,
watching them during like the most critical tasks can
yeah,
tell the kind of cop that they are,
for sure. For sure.
you know?
But what do you think? Do you think for the majority, this is just the majority, do you think the majority of like veteran cops, are they burnt out? Did they lose themselves to the job, or do you think they got to figure it out?
No, they lost themselves to the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then the job, I think like Jay Dobbins said it in his last thing about how the job changes DNA. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely agree with that,
Yep.
because I know for sure that happened to me.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
it's now I'm in the part of like the salvaging what I still have of old Nick, but embracing, veteran cop Nick, and kind of blending them all together and making a decent person, you
So,
know?
oh, hands down, absolutely. And I had to do that a lot sooner in my career than obviously you, because I got hurt. And so it was like, fuck, like, okay, I can no longer do this anymore. So what am I gonna do? I kind of I gotta be a civilian again. I mean, I'm still obviously part-time cop, but part-time cops, in my opinion, is different than full-time cop. You know what I'm saying? I said
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
my blood, but when you're not 40, 50, 80 hours a week living it's like this breath of fresh air almost, like, because you're like, I don't, I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not that all the time. And
I'm not
so,
compounded by it.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
big one.
absolutely. And so like, my thing is like, what do we tell these new guys? Like, first off, Nick, why are we even having this conversation?
I think it's important to have this conversation because we don't want people to go down the same road that
Mm,
some of us did,
hell yeah.
because that's the worst thing, like what'd you really do? Like, I know in the last podcast I talked about legacy. So
Yes.
this is all part of it.
Yes.
This is just part two of how you establish your legacy. You don't let people make the same mistakes that you did, or the same missteps. So this is how to have a successful career, on and off the job, and not really losing yourself. I know a lot of younger officers, I actually learned a lot from them,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of them are very good at this. They
Yep.
treat it like a job.
Hands down. I think
Though
they're better at it than the veteran guys. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah. They go hard. Like, listen, they'll go hard. They want to go kick indoors and stuff. Like, one of my boys, Joey, he is the epitome of that. This guy will be out there fishing, shooting, hunting, doing all that. But then he's a badass cop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, you figured it out.
You got to figure it out.
He
You,
has it figured out to the letter, you know?
yes,
And
absolutely.
I think Joey has like maybe 6 years on the job. I met him when he had like 2 years on.
Was he always like that? Or do you think
Yeah.
did he have like this big like come to Jesus moment?
I don't know. You know what? I gotta ask him next time. I'll probably text him when we're done here. But yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely has it figured out. He has very good outside references. He goes fishing, like I said, he goes hunting. He has little hobbies that he does.
So he
And then
identifies other than a cop.
yes, yes,
So
he's exactly what most guys need to be doing.
this is important, Sheepdog Nation, because so many of us, we identify just as the cop, just as the police officer, just as the deputy sheriff, state trooper, probation officer, etc. But we don't self-identify in any other areas, or we lose all of that for some reason. And I think it's critical. It's critical that we do not lose that. I think we lose so much of our lives, we lose so much of ourselves. And listen, and here's the thing, okay, take it from somebody who's done it, but take it from somebody who's also been around a lot of people who have lost themselves, okay, to the job. It is difficult to get yourself back. I mean, let's be real, Nick. I mean, you're going through it.
It takes everything you have, because
Yes.
now you've invested all of this time perfecting your craft. Like, yeah, look,
Mm,
I like, for how long do I go? I went shooting for an entire year. I think I talked about it recently in like the Sheepdog family. I shoot 15,000 rounds a year to
mm-hmm,
get good at shooting at a moderate level, maybe an elite level, right?
mm-hmm,
Doing classes all the time on my own time and dime, doing like, stuff like jujitsu to get ready for work. So all
mm-hmm.
those things are job related. Yeah, it's a hobby or whatever, but they're still directly correlated to the job.
Yep.
And now I have to kind of reel back and separate myself and remember, okay, I'm doing this as a hobby, it's work related, but I still need to have outside things like dealing with my family, because
Mm-hmm.
I can't take away my time from them, because it's only 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
So how do
Absolutely.
you balance all those things?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing, especially for veteran officers, like balancing all the different things that you have, and even new officers that have a family, because
Yeah.
they're thinking about it too. They're like, all right, well, you want me to do martial arts, which is hard. You want me to shoot, which is hard. You want me to know the law, which is actually pretty difficult, and
Yeah.
remember case law. And then you want me to be super mom or super dad.
Yeah. Something's got to give.
Something got to give,
Yep. And
right?
and it can't. And a lot of times, it's not going to be the thing that they could get killed doing. Right. We don't want that. We don't want that. Right. So I know for like myself personally, my personal life, my family, my relationships totally suffered because I was like, listen up, like I need to train, like I need to do all these things if I'm going to stay safe out on the road. But what I wasn't realizing and what I was taking for absolute granted was the time. I mean, I literally for like 3 or 4 years, I don't really remember. There wasn't very many holidays that I made. There wasn't, I didn't spend a lot of time with my family at all or my friends. And like, I was so involved with the job and like,
Same,
yeah,
same.
yeah.
I
So
I used to always give Christmas before I had kids. I used to give Christmas and Thanksgiving off to the veteran
Me too.
officers.
Yep, me too.
Because I'm like, hey, listen, I don't need to bang in that day. I don't need to take that day because you have a family.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Me too.
so I waited until I had kids, and then I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna take that day.
Mm-hmm.
I do that. I take days off all the time. I
Yeah.
use up my vacation bank because
Yeah.
you work so hard. Most people just they work off duties. They're working, the paid details. They're doing overtime. I gotta do overtime today. Do I really want to do that? No, I don't.
Right.
But it gotta get done. But now, because I did overtime this week and next week, I'm probably gonna take a day off.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
balance it.
Balance is key. Balance is everything. And I think, honestly, Sheepdog Nation, what you can take from this episode of what Nick and I are talking about is it really is balance. We're not telling you to not go all in at your job. We want you to. We definitely want you to. But what we're saying too at the same time is don't lose yourself to the job and forget about everything else. Don't forget about the people who helped get you to where you're at. Don't think about the people that stand in your corner when you come home at night, when you come home in the morning because you just worked an overnight shift and they're waiting up for you, or you know what I mean? They're excited for you to come home and they want to talk with you. Like, don't snub them. Don't just be so thinking all about work and it's hard. Like what we're talking about, it's not easy. It's not easy. It is hard, but let me just tell you this. Even though it's hard, do not let that be your excuse, okay? Don't use that as a crutch. Life is hard. Being a cop, being a sheepdog, that's hard too. Being married, hard. Being a parent, hard, right? Like everything is hard. You got to pick your own level of hard, and you need to decide what you're going to allow to control your life and what you're going to control, right? That's how I feel about it.
It's very, very hard. I have to work constantly at it. I don't have all the answers. I don't even have a answer. I'm kind of Leroy Jenkins in this shit as I do it for
Yeah.
real. But it's in time. It will help and it will come through and work.
So what do you think if we had to give them some steps? What would be some steps that we could give them? How to not lose yourself. Step 1.
Write down. Okay. Let me start over. I would say the first thing to do is have a good exercise regimen. Right?
Why?
Because
Why?
exercising it keeps you healthy. If you're not breathing all hard going up the stairs, you're gonna have a little easier life. And it's also it's a form of discipline.
Yes.
You need to be very, very disciplined in things. So if you say, all right, listen, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. going to the gym, no matter what,
Yep.
no matter what. That's the first one. So now that's a hobby because now people that are at the gym, they're not cops, they're not first responders. They can be everything. They can be a chef, a lawyer. I mean, I look at my jiu-jitsu class. I think I'm the only cop that really goes to my class. A lot of the other cops go to a couple of other courses.
Yeah.
But it's like I have people that are nurses, doctors. I have one guy, he's like a famous restaurateur. I never even knew that. Like he's like, this guy's like dating like a movie star. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was you, bro. So you get introduced to kind of people like that. And those kind of people will keep you grounded.
Yes.
Not being around cops. Yes, we want to be
Yes.
around each other. We want to support each other, but you also need another group of friends.
Yes. Couldn't
You
agree more.
totally do. Because you have to get their outlook on life. And there's things that you forget as a cop that they will remind you of.
And you also, this is such a good topic because you also get the opportunity, Sheepdog Nation, to not identify as a cop in here, right? Because the truth is, well, I don't know about you guys. I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you about me and my husband. So when we go in public and everybody, so what do you guys do? My husband will be like, yeah, I'm a dog trainer because he's a canine handler. So he'll be like, yeah, I'm a dog trainer, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a professor or whatever. And before that, I was like, yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. I'd just say something like that. And it's cool though, because then you get to, if you come up with something, oh, I work for the city, I work for the state, and I fucking sell silver bracelets or whatever you want to say you do, right? You get to stay grounded that way. Like you said, you get to kind of fit in, and it's not going to be the whole, oh, you're a cop. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. No. When you get to know them, you can say, hey, yeah, I'm a cop. But, and you don't even have to skip that. Some people say that, but I just know we're from small. Maine is very small. Everybody knows everybody. And so if I tell somebody I'm a cop, how it always fucking happens is
I
somehow.
got a ticket.
Yep. Yeah. Or, oh, I want to be a cop, or I wanted to be a cop, but I couldn't, I
I
didn't.
took the test because my mama got
Yeah.
sick, and then I couldn't
Mhm.
do it because
Yeah.
I'd rather do corrections,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or I'd rather be a dog trainer.
Yep. Yeah, something. I'm like, damn, so you get to skip all that. And like you said, being around normal people. But let me just say this. I love that you said about like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and you use that as an example, but like Sheepdog Nation, find other good hobbies like for you as well. Like maybe that is it. And Nick and I, we really, both of us have got on you guys a lot about training. We both want you guys to train. But here's the deal is that you could find that you could go and like maybe you like to shoot ski, or maybe you like to go take like a cooking class, or
Go
maybe
be in the Red Hat Society. I don't care. Something.
yeah, something, because like yeah, but just find like be around other good productive people, and you won't get that like, oh, he's a shitbag, she's a shitbag, I can't be around them. You know what I mean? If you go and you find something that the productive people are doing, go be a part of it, like Nick just said. Like I
That
mean,
is the biggest thing. We'll like for my jujitsu folks, we go out there, we'll go have a pool party at my house or something, or we'll go watch a UFC fight together. I think
yeah,
this weekend everyone's going in Fort Lauderdale, there's a big UFC fight that's finally happening here, and everyone's going. They got box seats and they're all going,
that's
and it's
awesome.
going to be an awesome time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna ever do that. I mean, most police events, what is it, like a golfing thing or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yippee yippee, but now we're
Yeah.
gonna go watch a fight. This is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
you
it's
know
cool and it's awesome, and you get to be around people that like are good people. And I think that that's like one of the reasons like we all kind of shut ourselves off, right? I know I can't speak for
yep.
everybody, but I can speak for myself. Is I'm like, okay, I'll just live in my house with all my land, and I'll just stay on my land, and that way I know, all these shit bags are not going to bother me. I don't need to deal with people who are just no good, because unfortunately, in police work, we get this skewed vision of like that's what everybody is. We think that everybody is, the people we've arrested, because those are the only kinds of people we interact with on a daily basis. But the truth is that's not what society really is. And I can say that now that I've been, out of the job full time for a while, I've been able to take a step back and be like, okay, like not everybody is out to kill me, and not everybody is really bad. Actually, there's some really good people. There's a lot of really good people.
I forced myself to take a step back. I forced myself to introduce myself to other people that are not cops.
It's
I do
powerful.
it on. It's very, very powerful. You need to do it. You need to have that stable group of people that do that, because if you don't, it's going to be a bad look for you. You
Absolutely.
know, and
Absolutely.
that's how really how you preserve yourself, is
Hands
doing
down.
that.
I couldn't agree more. So what's step two, Nick? So step one is we do exercise.
So
Step two.
exercise regimen / social skills. Number two is just have a plan. Say, okay, listen, when I'm at work, I'm at work. If I have to do something work related, you have to compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
Is what I would say step two is. So you have to compartmentalize anything job related in job tasks.
Yeah.
After that, I would say, make sure you're maintaining good relationships with people. It's kind of ties into number one, but
That's
you
okay.
know, maintaining good relationships with people and not kind of getting caught up. Oh, this is the big one. Not getting caught up in social media,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you can be part of all these police pages, right? I mean, there's tons of them. I'm not going to mention all of them, but
Yeah.
there's tons of them, and
Yeah.
all it is a big ass circle jerk of people saying the same shit.
Yeah.
So then now you're going to have an emotional response to it,
Mm-hmm.
because someone's going to troll and they're going to say something. You're going to get fired up about it. And then you're going to lose your shit. And now you're boom, back right where you needed to leave.
Yep.
So you have to maintain your social media and kind of tone it down,
Yeah.
and don't have all this cop stuff on your social media. I had to clear out what I did for 2019 it was actually, I wrote it down as one of my like New Year's resolutions. I think I'm only part of like 3
Mm-hmm.
police related groups right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like 20.
Yep.
So now I'm just like, all right, I only limit them because these people are positive. They have something positive to say. They're not just going to, post up clickbait the whole damn time and get all fired up and say this and that. I don't
Yep.
need that in my life. I already
Yep.
hear it enough. I don't need that anymore, because that really will affect your mood.
Hands down. You know, and a good example of this is the sheepdog family that
Yeah.
you are a part of, but Sheepdog Nation, you can click the link below. You can read about it. It's my group. Anyway, so I think that's really good. I think it's really good advice. But again, that's helping. It's just teaching officers to separate. Like we just need to separate. It's the separation. Nick is like literally giving us step by step on how to separate. And I think we just need to become more aware that we do need to separate things in our minds and in our lives. Get this kind of goes along with find some hobbies, find something that you like. I know an officer, he's not too far away from retirement, and I've talked about this before, but he blows my mind with how humble he is. And I happen to know that he blew my mind with this because he's actually looking, he's got a hobby and he's into soap making. And
Ooh.
and I loved this. Like, he's like wicked into, like, I don't want to put like disgusting shit on my body or my family's body. Like, I want to know what I'm washing my body with. And I was like, you know what I love so much, Nick, is that this guy is actually, he's an avid CrossFitter. He's always in really good shape. He's somebody who I lean on and I send other people to be like, hey, okay, fitness question. What do you think about this? And he'll answer it. And so I totally thought when we were talking, like, what are you going to do when you retire? Like, how are you going to start building your side hustle? I totally thought he was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be a personal trainer, or I'm going to open up a gym, or I'm going to do this thing. And he totally blew my mind. And I love it. And I think that because he has this hobby that is so nothing to do with the job, it keeps him so fucking grounded. He's just so grounded. He's like, yeah, I spent some time before I go to bed, instead of looking at social media, I'll maybe Pinterest a little bit about books, or I'll read a book, or I'll whatever. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It works.
it works. It totally works. So I think that everybody definitely needs to, definitely needs to be looking into seeing what you can do, seeing like what you're interested in. Like maybe maybe you like to build things or paint things, or, who knows, interior decorating. Hey, from my
So
girl.
my funny story talking about interior decorating and stuff. My dad is a literal hippie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went away to college, he gave me a bonsai tree to take care of. Right?
That's awesome.
So he would give me stuff like that, or he would go take me to the park and I would have to go paint, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what's funny? At 36, I find myself doing that now.
Yep.
So I grab my
Mm-hmm.
kids and I'm like, yo, come over here and paint this. They're like, why, Dad? I'm like, trust me, it's gonna help.
Yep. Yep.
You
I
know?
love that. I love that. I think we could all learn a lot from hippies. I don't care what they say.
Oh yeah,
My parents are a couple of hippies too, and I love it.
yeah,
I'm totally
totally.
turning into my mom. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? Like, I'm meditating like all the time and doing like all this crazy shit, smudging my house, clearing my house. And my husband's like, oh my God, you are your mother. I'm like, I know. I
yeah.
don't even
Like
know what
I'm
the
like
hell.
my thing to do. Like when I get upset, I start cleaning. So
Mm-hmm.
my kids hate it. I'm like, listen, if these Easter eggs are on the floor again, or that grass is on the
Mm-hmm.
floor, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah. You're going to
So
be
I
doing
make them
push-ups in your bed, kid.
right. So I make them do all that stuff. I'm like, trust me, years later, this is gonna help, guys.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So,
So I would tell you, decluttering. This is how you all in all, what we're talking about today is decluttering your life when you
mm,
become a police officer.
yep.
I remember I had interview, like an interview prep class, going for getting ready to go to the airlines, because as some people know, I'm actually learning how to be a pilot right now.
Yeah, which is
So
badass.
yes, so I have to actually change over a little bit of my skills, my soft skills, that I have as a police officer, and bring them into the aviation field.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the interviewers, who's a chief pilot, I think for United Airlines or something like that, he was talking to me and he said, when you say what your job is, when somebody asks you, what do you do for work? What are you going to say, Nick? Oh, I'm a cop. Okay. He goes, right then and there, stop. No, what you need to say is you work as a police officer.
Yes.
And I go, what the hell's the difference? And
Yep.
he goes, listen to how you said it. You said that you self-identify with being a police officer. That's all
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah.
Versus that's your occupation.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I go, so how do you answer? And he goes, well, I say that I work as a commercial airline pilot. And I go,
Mm-hmm.
damn, bro, that like, that was like mind blowing to me.
Well, Nick, it's so funny that you're bringing this up because that's word for word what Dr. Kevin Gilmartin in his book Emotional Survival, he uses that exact example as a pilot. So I wonder if he went through like the same situation you did, because
Maybe,
he
maybe.
literally says with a commercial, like with a pilot and stuff, that's what he always says. He goes, pilots don't walk around and say, oh yeah, I'm a pilot. They always say, I work as a pilot. So why do
Yes,
cops walk around and say, yeah, I'm a cop, I'm a cop, I'm a cop? And like, and it is like, I think we just literally become so consumed, and listen, Sheepdog Nation, I'm just going to be real with you. It's not like all of your fault. Like, and I don't want you guys to think that, this is
totally isn't.
definitely, no.
Totally
And
isn't.
it's definitely this, we're not shitting on anybody because hell, me and Nick, we're, like Nick said, we both are still like picking ourselves out from this and being like, okay, I'm still, I'm not just a cop or whatever, but the important thing here to remember and to understand is that it is not just your fault. A lot of the ways that the agencies are set up and the resources our country as a whole just doesn't have a lot of resources for law enforcement. Like we just aren't allocated all those resources, and so they that we should have more police officers. I know the state of Maine literally probably has the exact same amount of cops as like the entire state has like way less than like what's in the NYPD. Like
Yeah, I think
the
NYPD
entire
now is like
state.
41,000, I think.
Oh my God, yeah, no. No. We don't have that
And it's
many.
still not enough. That's the crazy part.
Like let me just give it to you this way. The Maine State Police, okay? The Maine State Police only has like 325.
I think I have that many in my department.
Right. Right. So, I mean, it's just, we just need more resources, and so as a whole, as an agency, and because we don't have that, obviously we're working all the time, they're trying to fill in the gaps. We're getting ordered in, we're getting ordered over. And it is easy to find yourself in that downward spiral. But the best thing in the most successful police officers really do, they're able to compartmentalize, like Nick said. They're able to take the steps that we talked about. You develop a workout, gets yourself disciplined in working out and doing something for you. And Nick said go to the gym, but I fully agree. But I'm going to tell you this, because I'm going to leave no excuses for any one of you. If you can't go to the gym, go for a run. You can't go for a run. You take 20 minutes and you do a HIIT workout in your house, and do it every day. Do it 5 days a week. Do it 3
Do
days a week,
stretching, do yoga. I mean, like you can do
whatever.
stretching in your house.
And
Stretching,
you do
you're
yoga.
wearing a gun belt all day. You're wearing a 35
Yeah.
pound gun belt all day. You think that's not going to help? Like, it's not going to hurt you
No,
later
it's
on in
awful
life?
for you. Awful.
It's horrible.
Awful.
Not everybody has exterior vests. That shit hurts.
Yep. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, that's
Stretch
what
your
messed me
hips.
up. And yeah,
Yep.
definitely stretch your hips, huge, stretch your lower back, get a foam roller, roll. You can do, this is yoga with Adrienne. Actually, I don't even know who she is, but I've been doing YouTube. I've been doing it for the last couple of years. You just go YouTube yoga with Adrienne, and she's actually, I like her a lot. And she's got 15-minute like yoga classes right on YouTube for free. Go do that every day.
I do that. I do yoga for BJJ. Like, that's like
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
One of our buddies, Mike, turned me on to it. It's great. And it's not just for jiu-jitsu people. It just happened to be that some of the movements are specific to it, but
That's
it's
cool.
yoga in general, and it's really, really good.
That's cool. I like that. So you don't have an excuse. So every day you've got to be doing something for yourself, because it's going to stimulate your mind, and it's going to disrupt that pattern of work, right? Like I've got all this shit to do and on all that stuff. The next step is definitely getting yourself a hobby. The next step is really focusing on, Nick had said, like compartmentalizing, understanding that like things need to go different places, and that's just the way that it is. Like your mind needs to be someplace, and then when you're at work, and then when you're home, it needs to be different. The fourth step is you need to be paying attention and be cognizant of your relationships and what you bring to the table in those relationships, and don't forget that. Okay. Do not forget that. Like what you bring to the table in those relationships are not that you are a cop. That is just what you do for work. Like Nick just underlined for us. You work as a cop. That is not what you bring to the fucking table in your relationships. Do not forget who you are underneath the gun and the badge. And I think that's so important. And then the fifth step is social media. Like I really want to talk about this real quick, the decluttering of your mind. I want to just kind of underline, underscore, exclamation mark this, is it is so easy. And I know because if I'm just being so honest with you guys, and like I am always, like it's so easy for me to get caught up. I get so caught up even on Instagram. Like I don't even pay attention to Facebook anymore, but even on Instagram, because that's all I see. That's all I see is like people in uniform and all, just all this stuff. Cops are this or cops are that. And I work out and I do this and I do that. And I'm like, okay, but and it just seems that, and believe me, okay, so if you're trying to grow a following, if you're like me and you're in business and stuff, then you know that you obviously want to gain as much attraction as possible. So, but is this a sad reality? But don't let it consume you is my advice. The sad reality is that you can post a picture of you out of uniform looking damn good, but it's going to get half as many likes as you posting a picture of you in uniform looking fine. You know what I mean? It's just the way that it is, but the advice is don't let that mind fuck you. Like just keep going and keep separating and you know what I'm saying? Like just keep doing you. Don't let social media get in your brain. Don't let trolls get in your brain. I mean, I get trolled. I was just telling Nick today, I got trolled this morning. Like it happens. It happens. Don't let that bring you down. Don't worry about it. Just push that shit to the side, forget it. Don't even hold on to it. Don't even compartmentalize that. Just forget about it and move on.
You have to, because if you let people control you, this is the thing, right? You don't even know these motherfuckers.
That's right. Yeah.
You're really letting someone that you don't know hate on you?
Or
think about that for a minute. You're letting them influence your mood.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And they don't even know you. They don't even know. You could have a fake name. How do you know my name is Nick Jacobs? You don't know that, right?
Right.
So you're gonna let somebody influence you? Come on, you can't do that.
No.
You have to put it aside.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Nick, what else do you have to say? You have anything else you want to say to Sheepdog Nation before we let them go?
No, I just really want to say thank you to Autumn. I mean, she's been an awesome friend, and really, really good influence, and really does give a shit about other police officers, and from besides their physical being, but their mental being, and she really lets people be who they are. So it's a very good example to take. I mean, yeah, she's not going to be a 20-year veteran, but do you really need to be a 20-year veteran to give some positive insight? I don't think so.
Thanks.
So I really, really want to tell people that and kind of show people that you can have a positive influence just by don't being stuck in that cop mindset, but kind of branching out and redeveloping yourself. A lot of people need to do that, and a lot of people need to understand what Autumn is trying to do. So I want to give you props for that, homie.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. I really do.
Yeah.
Sheepdog Nation, if you liked this, if you liked this episode, what I want you to do is come on to Instagram. Let Nick and I know. Nick, how do people find you if they want to hang out with you?
I'm on the gram, no_autopilot.
Perfect. And it'll be under here. Yep.
It'll be under there.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes, Sheepdog Nation. But I'm going to be making a post about this episode. If you liked it, come and let Nick and I know under the post. Let us know that you listened to it. I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaways were. Nick, as always, loved having you on, and I will be having you on again soon.
For sure.
And that was another episode of Sheepdog Nation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes and let us know by giving us a rating. If you have questions that you want answered by Autumn in the podcast, submit it by going to the link in the show notes. As always, stay safe and watch your six.